The Supreme Court has now come down heavily on Patanjali Ayurveda and the Government of India. It has issued a contempt notice to the company and its managing director Acharya Balakrishna over misleading advertisements claiming to be quote-unquote permanently cure diseases like blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis, asthma and obesity. The top court has even rapped Patanjali for degrading modern forms of medicine including allopathy. The court said that the entire country was being taken for a ride and the Government of India was sitting with its eyes closed. This is a very serious matter, and the question being asked over here, despite the reprimand that had been made by the apex court in the past years, there has been no stoppage that has been put on these fake misleading ads that are being put out by Patanjali Ayurveda. What is even more appalling and shocking to know is that Patanjali Ayurveda has increased its businesses, production, sales and revenues over time, becoming amongst one of the most selling FMCG products over the counter, which makes us question and wonder that there are a number of people in our country that are being fooled, who are buying into this hoax, this lie that is being spread by Patanjali Ayurveda. Let's start this conversation. Joining me currently on the telecast is Padma Shri Dr. Sanjeev Bagai. He's the chairperson of Nephron Clinic. Dr. Bagai, now this is not the first time that the Supreme Court has pulled up Patanjali Ayurveda. The fact that this case had been going on in terms of hearings in the court last year as well, there were in fact comments that had been made by the Patanjali Ayurveda and Baba Ramdev against the COVID vaccines. He said that after COVID, the number of cases of cancer have been increased manifold. He's spoken about how COVID vaccines don't really work and how he would be able to cure diseases by yoga. Now, in a situation such as this, and I can only call a person like Baba Ramdev a quack, because he's spreading this misinformation, he's giving these medicines, he is recommending these medicines, which are then called permanent cures for most maligning of the diseases like arthritis, blood pressure, obesity, and people are just buying into it.
Good evening, everyone. I think I've been extremely vocal for the past 1 or 2 years with regards to this misleading advertisements from Patanjali as a company and Mr. Ramdev. I'm sorry, I can't call him Swami or Baba because he is none of the two. He's just Mr. Ramdev. These are fraudulent, these are deceptive, and these are willful information which is being spread on every portal, be it news, print, social media, or indeed personal interviews. This is actually giving an influence to patients to buy wrong products for the wrong cause, for the wrong diseases. You're almost like compelling people to purchase. This misrepresentation can be in nature, character, quality, results, and unverified claims. I repeat, unverified claims. There are two important parts in this. This intent and content, both, is devious, it's mischievous, and it is entirely unacceptable and wrong. Now, let me give you certain very, very important examples and allow me just 60 seconds more. The proclamation made is that his products from his company can permanently cure, I repeat, permanently cure diseases and chronic ailments like diabetes, hypertension, heart diseases, chronic kidney diseases, hair loss, infertility, COVID treatment he had, apparently obesity. He's also proclaimed he has a cure for dengue and malaria, cancers and arthritis. You can lose more than 50% of your kidney function without any reflection in your blood test of serum creatinine. Patients who forego the routine medication and embark on this ill-defined cures which he is falsely proclaiming can rapidly slip to death. This is nothing short of cheating people. His own staff members get admitted in AIIMS for treatment. Proof of the pudding is in the eating. And my contention in the last is, why decry another line of medicine? Mr. Ramdev is not a doctor. He is just a simple human being who practices yoga. He should stick to it. He has no right to say our line of medicine is inadequate, wrong, or inappropriate. He's also mentioned that why do doctors in COVID, why did they die if we have a cure? He's also said the vaccines are not that good, and so on and so forth.
Right.
This is completely manipulative behavior at an audience at large. There is no evidence-based medicine in his proclaims. There is no randomized controlled trials. There is no published data in peer-reviewed journals, period. This must end, and now. Over to you.
Absolutely. Dr. Jayesh Lele, he is the chairperson of the Indian Medical Association National Health Scheme. Now, Dr. Lele, there have been petitions that have been filed by the Indian Medical Association, and it is hearing this petition that the Supreme Court has come down heavily on Patanjali Ayurveda and even the Government of India. Now, while it has taken as much time, why do you think the Government of India has not been able to clamp down on this malpractice that is being taken forward by Patanjali Ayurveda and its managing director for all these years?
In fact, I totally agree with Dr. Bagai, and definitely when I was the Secretary General and the COVID was there rampant in 2021, when the coronal came, immediately I have lodged the RTI with Ayush Ministry, RTI with the Drugs Department, and both have given me answer with to the RTI that coronal is not recommended for the corona that time what the infection was there. No doubt that time in the first 2-3 months of time, the corona, virus, there was no sure shot remedy. Even the WHO and worldwide lot of things and research was going on. And on that time, he proclaimed that this is a disease being cured, and in the rural setup, we started selling those products. In fact, that time with the my RTI, immediately we had told very categorically. In fact, IMA has gone in further, filed FIR in at various places, made a complaint to the Ayush Ministry, government at various levels. But unfortunately, government did not take up any action, and he went on to claim that by giving oxygen, doctors and the patient died more, and all those things. Lot of crap has been thought about.
Right.
And subsequently, the height of it was Dr. Sanjeev mentioned about the false claims, false advertising, and people fall prey to that such kind of advertising. And then we filed a case in 21 when I was the General Secretary, and the case is the today. Now that is what last 4-5 hearings we have been following it. And all the hearings, the honorable judiciary system has come down heavily on him. And in spite of that, he has not been stopped of using this. So ultimately, yesterday, the honorable court had a severe talk and said that if this thing will be there, it will be a contempt of court, and even the penalties will be levied down. So I think government to must take a clue and stop this crap going further. And I totally request the government to take a strict action against this issue.
Okay. I'm also going to get Sharad Kohli into the conversation over here. Sharad, taking a look at the economics of it all, and particularly the staggering profits that Patanjali has been raking in over the past few years. And there are people who are ardent fans and followers of Ramdev. And not just that, they have then carried forward their confidence and loyalty and preference to the product that he endorses, which is Patanjali Ayurveda. And there are ardent followers, and they vouch by the effectiveness, the authenticity and the genuineness of this product, despite all the questions that have been raised by doctors, by allopathy, by the Indian Medical Association, and even the Supreme Court now raising questions over these false claims that these medicines and the branding and the advertisements that Patanjali endorses.
Well, good evening, Megha, and good evening to all the panelists and NewsX viewers. Well, I've been watching the whole thing. I don't come from the world of medical fraternity. I'm an economist, and I view it from an economic point of view. Well, this is true that Patanjali today, through its companies, is a listed company. You know, Ruchi, when it took over Ruchi Soya, So it is a listed company. When you're a listed company, you are making profits, even if you are reinvesting your profits into setting up schools, colleges, or other institutions, research institutions, and so on and so forth. Well, you have to be responsible in the fact that you are not an out and out charitable organization. That's my first point. So if you're doing any good to humanity, well, let the people come themselves. You don't need to advertise. Let the word of mouth, if some people have actually benefited, which may be true. Sometimes body goes into a self-repairing mechanism also. So irrespective of what you're taking, I'm sure my doctors on the panel would agree, sometime when 10, 15 days, 1 month passes, there are many diseases, you see some improvement, body recovers on its own. So there may have been some beneficiaries, there may not have been some beneficiaries, but ethically speaking, now I'm a lawyer and a chartered accountant also, Megha. In none of the professions, you are allowed to advertise. That's my first point. You cannot advertise. I cannot take out an advertisement that I am a very good lawyer. Come and give me cases. I'll win you. If you've got a criminal case, murder case, I'll get you out in 2 days, 3 days. If you've been accused for rape, I'll get you out in 3 days. Have you ever seen such advertisements? The fact is no. So ethically speaking, I think it is completely wrong. Then my second point is about the Drug and Magic Remedies Act of 1954. Now, this act was brought in 1940 by our late Prime Minister, Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru. He brought that act, and then the act was rewritten in 1954 because the Britishers, they did not want other forms of medicine to prosper in India. They only wanted allopathy to prosper, and rightly so, because allopathy was much more effective. It gave you immediate relief. It was an emergency medicine system. And Ayurveda, but then ever since government set up Ayush Mantralaya, the intention of Mantralaya was to provide people natural medication, alternate medication for the people who do not want to go for allopathy. And now I find a lot of doctors going for Ayurveda treatments. I find as one of my previous panelists said, a lot of Ayurveda people, they get admitted to hospital as well. So I think a harmonious, survival of all medications has to be there, but one should never go ethically wrong. When you release advertisements of these sort, obviously people get misled. And if I'm in pain and an ad says, come to me, I'll make sure that you get rid of this pain when the ailment is as bad as cancer or something like, you're suffering because of diabetes. And I see an ad, when I'm in pain, I'll immediately rush for that.
Yeah.
Now, how much benefit I get, Megha, is a different thing. So either, there should be testament, but sometimes I feel that they go over the board, कि बिल्कुल ठीक हो जाएगा, आप आ जाइए, बिल्कुल ये सब गलत है, ये गलत है. So I think there has to be harmonious survival
enough,
or functioning of all the medical systems.
But Sharad, now the question arises is, now ever since the inception of this company and the drugs that have been selling over the counter, it has made Patanjali really rich. You're speaking about how it has now become a listed company. The fact that it has been able to earn hordes and hordes of money simply by deception, simply by decepting the people, simply by misleading them, simply by playing on their vulnerabilities and sensitivities, should then, bring forth an equal and opposite action from the Supreme Court, from the Government of India, and questioning the very reason they were able to make so much money.
Well, Megha, if you look at the statistics, most of the Patanjali Group revenue comes from Fmcg products. When I say Fmcg, I mean toothpaste and shampoos and, those soaps and all that. I need to dig into statistics as to how much of Patanjali revenue is actually coming out of these advertisements, out of making people believe that diabetes can be cured forever, cancer can be cured forever, your corona can be cured immediately. How much of Patanjali revenue is coming out of these drugs, and how much of Patanjali revenue, this is a very important point, Megha, and how much of Patanjali revenue is coming out of its Fmcg business, which are quite popular, I must say, they are very popular. So I think Patanjali must focus on, it is doing well on Fmcg, it has grown to a 10,000 crore plus company in terms of turnover, and very rapidly so. So I think they should have just carried on with that without encroaching upon an existing and established medical system which has been set up across the world. It's not just in India.
But,
This is
but
across
then
the
also,
world.
you know,
But-
there's a flip side to the argument that because the people are, you know, just such strong believers in this product, the FMCG branding that has been created by Patanjali, which has made it really rich. So, how much time will it take for a consumer to then, and he's an ardent believer, he is a loyal customer of Patanjali goods, Patanjali
Megha, that
FMCG
answer
that is available. How much time will it take for that consumer to convert from being an FMCG product user of Patanjali to then using the medicinal remedies that Patanjali at this point of time endorses and falsely claims?
Let me answer that. I take a cue from what Dr. Bagai said. You know, the taste of the pudding is in eating it. If I'm consuming something which is related to diabetes, and my diabetes does not disappear despite taking it for 1 year, 6 months, 2 years, whatever is their prescription or whatever they prescribe, then I would rather stop believing it. So I thought there is also a natural remedy to it, a natural remedy to a natural remedy, that people do not get cured and they lose their credibility automatically. So that is one. But then at the same time, as a responsible state, you cannot allow somebody to be made to believe that yes, you will be cured, because the patient would have lost those 6 months or 1 year.
Right,
The patient would have lost that crucial period of 6 months or 1 year when his life could have been saved.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Okay. Sanjay Rana is a lawyer. He joins me on the telecast. Sanjay, quickly, if you could interpret to us what the Supreme Court has said, and particularly on how it has pulled up the Government of India. What could the Government of India have done before this hearing came up in the Supreme Court and it had to take such stringent, strong action?
Megha, we need to understand and divide the things in two parts. One, what Supreme Court is saying. So if you look at the Supreme Court statement, complete statement, they are interpreting the law, which is obviously the Act 1954, which my president was saying. So they are just interpreting and explaining the company what is coming under that law and what you can do, what you cannot do. This is one part of the game. Another part of the game is called whether allopathy is right and homeopathy is Ayurvedic is wrong. So if you look at obviously my president was talking about 1940. Obviously, Britishers bring all this law and they were trying to impose their product in Indian market. When we know our Ayurveda can cure, if you look at the cancer, it's absolutely possible. It can be cured in Ayurveda. Obesity is possible. BP is possible. BP is possible. Asthma is curable in Ayurveda as well as in homeopathy, but it's not possible to cure in allopathy. So we need to understand where the things are. Number two. Number three, we need to understand which things fall under which category. When you're talking about the advertisement, how the advertisement are happening. Obviously, it's fall under the FMCG product portfolio, or falling in the medical portfolio. You cannot do the advertisement under the medical portfolio because it comes under different rules and guidelines. As far as the government is concerned, Megha, government will obviously question has been asked and government will reply back to Supreme Court as per the request. But yes, if somebody, any doctor, any fertility IM is saying or hiding their self behind the Supreme Court verdicts is not. I'm not buying that point, because few whatever diseases are there is absolutely curable in Ayurveda. It's possible, but yes, as for the law which we have at this point of time in India, we cannot do the advertisement that is absolutely curable. So we need to find out what is the gap, how the advertisement is happening, where the gap is coming, and what the judgment is. So if you look at Charak Sangita, you go anybody, I think none of the judge has gone through the book Charak Sangita. Everything is mentioned. Whatever the 54 diseases are mentioned in our law, it's all are curable.
Okay, but then there has to be there has to be proof. There has to be evidence at the end of the day. Have there been enough number of cases that have been cured that allow for a particular company that is selling a particular medicine to claim that yes, this is absolutely curable. There is 100% cure, permanent cure for a disease like obesity, for a disease like blood pressure, for a disease like arthritis. Do we have the numbers? Do we have the figures to then go about claiming this? Yes, Dr. Bagai, yes, you want to make a point.
None of the medical company can give you the proof, similar kind of proof.
If I can just come in for a quick minute, I have 2 or 3 very limited and sharp points. One, my contention is false claims and misleading advertisements are wrong, irrespective of which medical science they come from. If indeed any medical science, including allopathy, gives these false claims, those advertisements should also be pulled down as vigorously. Point number 1. Point number 2, a non-medical doctor should not, a non-medical professional should not be proclaiming any claim, leave alone magical remedies. Point number 3, we should not look down upon any other medical science. Homeopathy is a science, Ayurvedic is a science. I individually, personally respect those sciences. It's a patient's choice where they go to, whether they get relief, they don't get relief. It's their personal choice. My take is we should not be mixing 2 different aspects. If someone is following Ayurveda, that's perfectly fine. It's their family decision. But let us not mislead a person to say have a permanent cure when none exists.
Okay.
That's my limited point.
Okay, quickly. I'll come to you, Tanvi. Thanks for waiting patiently on our telecast. But quickly, I have Dr. Jayesh, you want to quickly make a point, 30 seconds before I go to the next panelist.
Yeah, I would like to add what Dr. Sanjeev mentioned. Nobody gives right for one system of medicine to criticize on the other. See, right now when they are saying that Ayurvedic is good and Ayurvedic is offering complete cure, they are criticizing in every advertisement on allopathy.
No, absolutely wrong.
Absolutely. We have proved beyond doubt, and all the parameters which was there in the newspaper, I have given myself on the all parameters the documentary evidence to the Government of India and the Supreme Court, and then we had told that criticizing allopathy is not absolutely.
Okay.
You have no business to criticize allopathy.
Sanjay, you quickly want to retort that, particularly with regards to when Ramdev comes and he says that after COVID, cancer cases have risen, and yoga can bring back the number of cancer cases. It can cut off the increasing number of cancer cases, and how COVID vaccines do not work.
Mika, my point is simple as that. Please understand, Baba Ramdev is not an Ayurvedic doctor, Ayurveda. Okay. Number 2, the CEO of the company is Ayurvedic. He has the right to do everything. Number 2. Number 3, when we talk about proclaiming or degrading some other product, obviously we should not do it. You can sell your product whatever the way you want to.
You want to sell your product and say that a product, a medicine that you're selling over the counter is curing up an ailment, a chronic ailment at that, with 100% efficiency.
No. No one in this world can give you 100% guarantee.
So then why are you making such false claims? Because that's what the Supreme Court has said. It has wrapped Patanjali and said Patanjali is taking the entire country for a ride.
I think you have not gone through the judgment of Supreme Court, number 1. Number 2, when you look at the advertisement, it's categorically mentioned. Pehle zamane, if you look at the old let's go to 30 years back. People used to clean their teeth through charcoal and the ashes. And at that point of time, Colgate was saying they are fools. But right now, everyone is using a charcoal mask and charcoal toothpaste. So how things are changing? Please understand, it's a marketing perception. You need to understand how the marketing is happening. So marketing should be under guidelines, some guidelines. I'm not denying that.
At this point of time, Sanjay, wanted to know that how does the Supreme Court verdict in the case now translate into what are the correctives that will have to be made by Patanjali with regards to the stern comments and particularly the contempt notice that has come from the Supreme Court?
Simple, very simple. Supreme Court or any court only interpret the law which is written. They will tell you what is there, and we have to work as per the law. This is the judgment of Supreme Court.
Absolutely. I would rather that you not be the advocate of Patanjali, but particularly tell us about how things are now going to break down. The fact that Patanjali will have to roll back its products and the ads that are put out on television, print and any other media, or in fact even on their products, the ads that they stick on their products, the stickers that they put out, claiming that there is 100% efficiency if you consume this product.
And your obesity,
if obesity had a 100% cure, every single individual on the face of this earth would be thin.
Absolutely not possible. 100%
Okay, Tanvi put me on the telecast with me. Tanvi, thank you for waiting patiently on the telecast, and quickly a response from you with regards to why do you think the government of India has not been stringent in its action against a company like Patanjali Ayurveda?
I think we need to go back to 2014 and recall how Mr. Ramdev helped Mr. Modi in winning the mandate that he enjoys today. So the roots of all of it lies in the political patronage that Mr. Ramdev enjoys, and that is why Ministry of Ayush has not taken any action against the company. Now, 2 points that I want to quickly make. First, I do not, like Dr. Bagai said, that when Ministry of Ayush was established, or when Prime Minister Modi particularly promoted yoga, calling it the cultural revolution, nobody is against any form of science, provided it is sold to the consumers as a mode of science. So when Mr. Sharad said that it's fine, as long as they are making money, but the problem is that when you are a listed company, you need to have some sort of responsibility to so that your consumers can make informed choices. If forget Patanjali for a while, any other company selling any
that's what I said. Why not make a comparison to the quacks that sit on the roadside and claim to resolve all your problems, claim to fight every single disease on earth that you may have, and then why don't, how is Patanjali any different? Tanvi.
Exactly. Well, Patanjali is different in the sense that they enjoy patronage from BJP, while those sitting on the roads don't. And, Megha, you asked what about this case and what will happen in the future? This is actually a contempt case. And Supreme Court has said in its 2023 order that Patanjali will be fined 1 crore per product that they're selling. They'll be fined for that, for the contempt of court. But Mr. Ramdev, after the verdict came out, he in a press conference actually said that he doesn't mind paying thousands of crores or even getting a death penalty because he is very sure of the efficiency of his products. Such is the attitude of the person that now the Supreme Court had to really, shake the company and Ministry of Ayush that what are you doing and why are you not stopping these people? Okay. So let's first of all differentiate that nobody is against Ayurveda or our cultural roots and acknowledging that. The problem with this is that this is actually this is actually helping those people who are willing the in a sense vulnerable people who fall sick and they basically fall in the trap of such fools in getting these medicines thinking that they'll get healed by this.
Okay.
So that's not how it works, and this is not very dangerous for Indian markets.
Okay, Sanjay, you want to make a point quickly, then before I wrap this up.
Yeah, Megha, we need to understand what is Supreme Court. Supreme Court is not a supreme. So guidelines made by the government of India and the Mantralaya. The guidelines will made there, and these guidelines will implement it. Number one. Number two, we need to look at when we're targeting any company, we need to look under which guidelines are coming. Advertisement, I have not seen any advertisement of Ramadevji where it's mentioned 100% guarantee. No one in this world or any company will take it, Pfizer, take it, AstraZeneca, take it, any company will give you 100% guarantee.
I being a layman, when I buy a product and it says 100%, it says permanent solution to obesity, permanent solution to blood pressure, permanent solution to arthritis, and so on and so forth. Somebody who follows Ramdev, somebody who has been a loyal Patanjali consumer is then only going to take it on face value and buy that product in the hopes, in the belief that he is going to be permanently cured of all these diseases. And I give you the easiest example. Like I said, if It was if Patanjali products were a cure for obesity, every single person will be thin, because that's what everybody sees. Why spend thousands and thousands of rupees going to the gym and working out and putting in your sweat and everything when you can just pop a pill and become thin? Yes, Dr. Bagai.
No, Mega.
Yeah, just a quick point. Just a quick point I want to make here. One of my co-panelists mentioned 30 years back. I think that era of looking regressively backwards is over. No, it's passé. I think we have to look forward.
No, we are looking, sir, we are looking forward. Doesn't mean we have to forget our culture.
You, sir, I didn't interrupt you. Please have the patience to listen to someone else. Thank you. All what my contention is that if we are following evidence-based medicine, there has to be a standardization. It can be from Ayurveda, it can be from homeopathic, it can be from traditional medicine, it can indeed be from allopathy. My only contention is that the science has to be authenticated and verified. The results have to be verified. There is a scheme of things done as a protocol, double-blind controlled trials, randomized controlled trials. It has to be peer-reviewed. And more importantly, once the drug is introduced, any drug from any field is introduced into the market, then there are field trials. So then we accumulate data. What is your 5-year plan? What is your 10-year plan in terms of mortality, morbidity? What are the other comorbid conditions? During COVID time, to proclaim unverified claims was wrong. No company from any field of medicine should proclaim magical and dramatic one-time cures. It misleads a person, and that very precious few weeks, few months, few years where the disease could be controlled, that patient slips out of control. That window period is lost.
Absolutely.
So I think all companies have to be responsible. You have to look at beyond money. A human life is not money. Let me say one thing very clearly. No misleading ads and falsified claims should be allowed to be publicized. Over to you.
Absolutely. Quickly, Sharad, before Dr. Lele, I'll come to you. Sharad, quickly, 30 seconds. I don't have time.
Well, I completely concur with Dr. Bagai. I think all fields of medicines have a right to survive. There are people who believe in homeopathy, people who believe in Ayurveda, and a lot of people have benefited from these fields as well. But as I said, I would like to reiterate what I said. First of all, ethically, you cannot advertise in medical profession. That's my first point. My second point is you cannot criticize any other profession. That's the second point. Third point, you cannot make claims which are blind in nature, which are absolutely random in nature, that this can cure, which is not. So all the three things need to be kept in mind before you take any step.
Right.
And of course, if there is a law prevailing in the country, if there is this Drugs and Magic Remedies Act prevailing in the country. But having said that, Megha, my last point, I object to anybody being called a fool. I just heard from someone in the panel that the people subscribe to these the fools and so on. So I do not subscribe to that. I strongly object to that. I completely concur with Dr. Bagai in all regards.
Okay. Dr. Lele, quickly a word from you before I close this discussion.
Yeah, I completely agree with Dr. Sanjeev and of course Dr. Sharad. See, very important thing is that when we filed a case, that case has been filed by me personally because I was the Secretary General, and let me tell you, we have got n number of patients who are looking at to that kind of a thing, left allopathic, left medicine for blood pressure, diabetes, and have developed complications and kidney failure. Dr. Sanjeev will know very well that so many these heavy metal poisoning cases we have seen, and all those heavy metal poisoning cases are from this Ayurvedic, when they have been told that this is a complete cure. They have been consuming it for years together, not documented, not properly followed up, and that is how we have lost n number of patients. So I completely agree that such kind of advertisement should be totally banned at all.
Okay, all right. Fair enough. All right. I'm completely out of time. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast. Hopefully, after the Supreme Court reprimand, there is going to be stringent action. That is the Government of India that will take on Patanjali. And here's hoping that the people of our country have been made more educated, have been made more aware of the actuality of the situation.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.